Morning, Tom.
Good morning, Jackie.
You've passed me this book, The Wealthy Author, to read because I've just started writing my book. What's that going to help me with?
Well, I'm recommending all my clients read this book before they even start nowadays. Because Deb Jenkins and Joe Gregory have really summed up what it is you need to do at the very start of a book project to make your book something that's going to make you wealthy.
Okay.
And isn't that a useful thing to know before you start?
Well, yes, and many people write for the wrong reasons, don't they?
Well, they write from ego, for example. They might write from the perspective of thinking it's going to make them rich, but without having the benefit of hindsight of all the steps they've got to do to make themselves rich as part of the process.
Absolutely. And writing a book can be a challenge, I'm finding. And I've used your book, Blocks, in order to help me. Does that tie in with The Wealthy Author?
Yeah, well, Blocks is the second book in the series, in the Publishing Academy series, and I actually wrote it around the same time they were writing The Wealthy Author. But I happened to saw an early draft release of Wealthy Author just as I was about finishing Blocks, and it really helped me position Blocks really well. So, for example, I wrote Blocks in May. With Deb and Joe's help, it was published in October, and just last weekend I ran my first workshop on the back of writing Blocks. And one of the techniques in Wealthy Author is that you're not just writing the book and seeing the book as your revenue stream, but all the things it can do for you and all the doors it will open, for example.
So what must I think about, which is contained in The Wealthy Author, right now, as I'm writing my book?
Okay, so first off, I mean, your book is about relationships, which is fine. So you think about the marketplace. Okay, so you think about how you're going to get to the marketplace, where these people hang out, and the other thing you should think about is how your book can be repurposed and repositioned. And you can not just write the one book, but you can write a whole series of books based on that title, which I know you have in mind.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to reading this. What was the biggest nugget you found within The Wealthy Author?
Well, just two things really. One is that the whole publishing industry is changing right now, and it's slewing in favour of the author. But that doesn't mean just because it's easy to get published, you should write a book. You still got to write a really good book. There's obviously a lot of competition out there.
Sure.
So anybody can be a publisher nowadays, and they even give you the steps there of how to do that in the book. But the main thing is thinking about how your book becomes a series. Okay, for example, I could take this book now, Blocks, and I could write a book. This is Blocks, writer's block, but I could write blocks in relationships. I could write blocks in life. Blocks at school, this sort of stuff, or I could write a book about Lego blocks, so I can go in a sort of very lateral way. As it happens, what I'm going to do is write a whole series of books now about, okay, now you're unblocked, what do you do with that state of unblockedness, and how do you then channel in amazing inspirations, and that's where I'm going with my next series of books.
Oh, fantastic.
And what Wealthy Author gave me was that idea that you can see a book as a seed, which can then continue as a whole career.
Wonderful. And Joe and Debbie, tell me a little bit about them.
Well, they're sort of phenomenal, really. They've been going for quite a few years, and they've got a lot of experience in publishing. And you know what? I've not met them.
Never.
I've met them on Twitter, on Skype, we're on email and stuff like that. They work in Spain. They're virtual. They're English, and we got on really, really well just in this sort of virtual relationship. It's very efficient. They're a joy to work with. I mean, I can't believe the speed that we got my book out, and it was phenomenal. It really was. And it's selling already, which is just incredible, and it's making and opening doors for me. Is meaning that when people come to see me as clients, they're unblocked already, and there's just no way I would have achieved that without their help.
How wonderful!
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. And Joe and Debbie, the virtual world is a really interesting one. This is key. You keep telling me for the book and building up a social presence. Do Joe and Debbie use that in the book?
They do, yeah. Well, they've got this fantastic online resource called the Publishing Academy, and that's full of not only tips for how you get into that sort of inspirational zone when you write your book, but also people think when they've written a book that that's it, they've really achieved it, but that's just half the journey. The other half is then publicising it and you by building up your author platform. So that's blogging, it's tweeting, it's adding content all the time. When I'm blogging, for example, every single blog that I write is a potential seed for another book or a chapter from a potential book as well. So I'm always thinking, where can I go with this and what have you. And in fact, Blocks got published because Joe saw one of my blogs, liked the look of it, tweeted that he liked it, and then I got in touch, and then we, within a few days, we decided we wanted to work together.
How fantastic.
Yeah.
Synchronicities, as you talk about in Blocks all the time.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. And you know that.
Oh, we knew about
Yes.
them. We knew about them. Wonderful. Is there a last word you'd like to say about the Wealth Author? Or
Yeah,
Blocks, or Joe, or Debbie?
Just that I really hope that the Wealthy Author brings Debs and Joe an amazing wealth too.
Wonderful.
They're sharing with other people.
Well, I'm looking forward to reading this, and we'll see, because with Blocks and the Wealthy Author,
Mhm.
maybe I'll be your first published
Absolutely.
author.
I hope so. And good luck, Debs and Joe.
Thank you. Great.